Hey, Curtis.
Oh, hey there, Oz.
Let's hear this movie marriage to wrap up the month of May.
To wrap up summer movies, we're going to go with some Better Off Dead meets Police Academy 4, Pinch of Godzilla, Dollop of Animal House, bit of Revenge of the Nerds, all topped off with a rousing game of NBA Jam.
Tournament edition?
Yeah, the only kind. This week we're watching One Crazy Summer.
NBA champ
from downtown.
He's on fire. Oh man. Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks, the podcast where we take a monthly theme, like you mentioned, this month being summer movies, and we just kind of have a lot of fun talking about them. I'm one of your hosts, Oz.
I am the other host, Curtis.
And before we get rolling, we do want to give a shout out to Patreon subscribers Don S., Aaron A., Mandy K., Melissa L., and Colleen K. Thank you for your patronage.
Ring them up.
So, One Crazy Summer. Did you look at the filmography of a one Mr. Savage Steve Holland?
Savage Steve Holland. I mean, really, the only other big thing, like notable thing he's done was Better Off Dead.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I don't know what else happened.
Those were his first two movies.
Savage Steve Holland.
It looks like he was very involved with like the Fairly Odd Parents TV show movie thing, but like he did the sequel to Legally Blonde. Like, yeah, it's like once the 80s were over, he was pretty much over. So
yeah.
But
Honey, I directed 3 episodes of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the TV
show. Exactly. He he was the designer and animator of The Whammy, all episodes of Press Your Luck.
Whammy!
Whammy! So it's like the guy, he stayed busy, but he really struck gold with his first 2 movies. And this being,
yes, he did.
This being the second one of the 2, talking about One Crazy Summer.
Yeah.
Your movie, which I'm very curious to see you get into the plots of this movie.
Yeah. As we were talking pre-show, I had one crazy dinner tonight.
Oh, yes, you did.
Yes, my child projectile vomited. I basically coated the entire restaurant with a nice coating of vomit.
The power of ice cream compelled her.
Yes, it did. Yeah, split pea soup, only in Sunday form.
Like you and Patreon subscriber Melissa are cleaning up as like the employees are coming out and like flicking holy water at her to try to get her.
Basically, the poor girl. One of the workers there came out, and I don't know if because she's our kid, like we're immune to the scent of her puke or something. But one of the workers came out, and she started gagging. And was putting her nose in her shirt and everything, and I felt so terrible for her.
Yeah,
we ended up cleaning up most of it just because we felt so terrible.
Right. Oh, that poor girl.
Yeah,
because you figure it's dairy and it's been in your stomach, so it is, even if it's not hot, it's curdled to a degree.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yep. Got home and the kid was fine.
Of course she was.
Yeah,
she didn't want ice cream anyway.
No. It was good going down.
Yeah.
Just a good coming
Boy,
back
this
up.
sure tastes good, Dad. Thanks. Oh my. Well, we don't have any level of projectile vomiting in this film, but we
No, we don't.
We do have,
but still a lot of fun.
We do have a lot of. You didn't have a lot of fun. So it's nice to see that us recording is the highlight of your evening.
It's in retrospect, it's like, my kid covered the restaurant at puke. But in the moment, it's like, there's a lot of puke.
It's like what they did to get the Statue of Liberty to walk at the end of Ghostbusters 2.
But you're not too far off. Just those big canisters with like the weaponized slime.
All the sludge that they're spraying all over the place. So, yep, that's what.
I mean, coincidence or not, this restaurant had a big portrait of Vigo the Carpathian.
Well, you guys went to Aykroyd's for dinner for ice cream, didn't you?
Yes, we were at Aykroyd's. Peter Aykroyd actually served us.
Right. It's like his ice creams are very Aykroydian.
Croydon.
Oh, better. I almost said Better Off Dead, but nope, that's the other Savage Steve Holland movie.
Basically the same
it's
thing.
basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So I got the cast for this one, so I'm going to go ahead and
yeah, let's hear who's in One Crazy Summer.
The 80s.
Yeah, you beat me. I was just about to say the same thing. The entire decade of the 1980s.
And by 80s, we're talking about John Cusack, Demi Moore, Booger himself, Curtis Armstrong, Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh, and he is in full Bobcat mode in this movie.
Joel Murray, William Hickey, Joe Flattery, Billy Bird, Jeremy Piven, Rich Hall. Like, it's the 80s. The 80s.
They're all there.
Mark. I mean, they're all there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's people that even if you don't recognize the name, if you watch the movie and you're familiar with 80s cinema, you'd be like, oh yeah, that guy. Okay, yeah, I know him.
Mm-hmm. Lots of alligator shirts.
If there were more collars, most of them would have been popped.
Yep.
A lot of fringe. But that's pretty much it. And names, again, names like Bobcat Goldthwait that's a more common name than his character's name is Egg Stork.
Eggs. And we have eggs. We have Ack Ack.
We have George Calamari.
Yeah. I mean, when the guy who's writing this is named Savage Steve Holland. I'm pretty sure that's his birth name as well.
I'm sure it is. Yeah,
comes from a long line of savages.
Hoops, Stain, Grandma Calamari.
Yeah,
Clay Stork, Cookie Campbell,
Ted,
and then really like the last time, you really don't hear the name Cassandra outside of 80s and Wayne's World.
Yeah.
That's about it. Nothing after that. Now, there was Cassandras before that, but after that, not really so much.
That's Tia Carrere. Was the cherry on top of the Cassandra name.
Yeah, she does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, you get into this plot, my man.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a whole lot of plot to One Crazy Summer. Again, it's just a screwball 80s movie is all it is. This movie does have a lot of kind of fun animation in it as well. Yeah. You kind of see, like as you said before, Savage Steve Holland went on to do, be a production member of a lot of animation, later on a lot of kids animated movies. So we open up on an animated rhino looking for love. It's the Cusack stand-in here. There's several 1940s era rabbits. They're like early Bugs Bunny looking bunnies there.
They're what you would think Jessica Rabbit would look like if she were an actual rabbit.
and the rabbits tell him you're never going to be loved, which kind of a dour opener there. Of course, it's narrated by Hoops, and then the rhino pulls out an Israeli submachine gun and kills all the fluffy bunnies.
All the bunnies.
Yes. Hoops then picks up his cat Morty and complains to it as he crumples up the drawing and shoots it into a hooped garbage can that he misses, as well as the other 50 crumpled up pieces of paper that he's also missed with.
Doesn't really live up to his name.
Hoops. Nope. We cut to the high school graduation. His mom shrunk his gown. His friend George invites him to Nantucket. Hoops says I have 2 weeks to submit my scholarship to the Rhode Island School of Design, which is an actual place.
Yeah.
It's an actual school. So
it wasn't prior to this movie.
No. Somebody got the idea of it, and they just pooled a bunch of money together, came up with an endowment, and and it has to be an illustrated love story. So that's our through line here. Oz. He's trying to win this scholarship, and he has to be inspired to draw a love story. George reveals his mom's reveals to us, Hoops' mom is disappointed he didn't get the big basketball scholarship. In a parking lot with a street sweeper with the name Hoops on it was picking up more things than Hoops was. Or no, I said that wrong. His mom got him for graduation a street sweeper.
Because they were like, hey, it's time to get the keys. Like everybody was getting a new car,
and a fancy new car, and he got a street sweeper.
His mom bought him a street sweeper.
I think that'd be pretty sweet to drive around town in a street sweeper.
You kind of control traffic that way.
Yeah, nobody's getting by you. We get a fun bit with George's younger sister and a dog and two girl bullies
Yeah.
who are making faces at her and the dog.
So yeah, it's this running like ugly dog gag. Like the dog itself wasn't even really ugly. It's like put a couple of bandages in his fur and a cone around his neck, and we'll just treat him like the ugliest dog ever.
They did the whole bit where, like, you know, these other little girls were making faces at him, and they're like, well, you know, if you make that face, it's gonna stay that way. Or no, and like somebody slaps you on the back.
Yeah,
is that what it is?
It's like if you know you make a face like that, someone slaps you on the back, it'll stay that way. Which I mean, simply just put that line in just so you can have this throwaway gag, which is
and then with some creative and fun makeup, their faces literally stayed that way.
Right.
For the remainder of the movie.
To where now they were the ones being screamed at because they're the ugly kids. Because it's the 80s and you could still, like, visually make fun of an ugly kid.
We could shame the ugly all we wanted in the
80s.
We meet Cassandra Oz, the aforementioned Cassandra, with a guitar on her back and fringe flowing everywhere.
Might as well have said somewhere or bust on her sign. Like
she hops the fence. She hides a bunch of money in a bathroom and like a hand towel dispenser. She's hiding from a bunch of bikers
in the men's room.
Yes,
which then they go look for her in the men's room as Hoops is washing his hands and drying them with all of the money he's pulling out because she had the time to like accurately fold them the way that like towels in a dispenser would be folded, or the next one's ready for you when you pull it
comes right down. Yep. So he helps kind of fend them off. Like he grabs the money and just kind of throws it outside because it's their money. And so they go running after it, allowing Cassandra to escape with Hoops in George's car. They then drive directly to the dock because they're going to Nantucket. So they drive, and of course, George jumps off the dock
onto the ferry
that's already left. Of course, all of the street punks, the 80s punks, fall in the water hilariously.
It was hilarious.
We do learn, though, that Hoops hates water. That's another little bit that pops up as we go through here. We get back to the animated Rhino Oz. The hero hates boats. The heinous, cute, and fuzzy bunnies trick him into the sea. Back to reality, Hoops is drawing and writing in this on the ferry while sitting in a life raft in the middle of the boat.
I really don't think there's many actors in the 80s that could pull off this kind of role outside of John Cusack. Like he was,
this was written
just
for him.
Lovable enough, that he just rides with it, and he's kind of made a career out of just being that lovable goof.
Yeah, he admits to Cassandra he's afraid of water. From off camera, as Hoops and Cassandra are talking, George shoves a chili dog into Hoops' face, just goes, "Chili dog!" That's this movie.
Yeah.
That's this movie. Cassandra says, I got to go to the island to help my grandfather with his money problems. We get there, we meet the Stork twins, Clay and Egg. Of course, Egg is played by Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yep.
George knows them. George and Egg greet each other by screaming directly into each other's faces. Yuppie Teddy and his girlfriend Cookie pull up in his little red sports car. Teddy just starts screaming at Hoops for touching my car. You touch my car? You touch my car?
And you know he's the yuppie because he's blonde.
Yes. As is Cookie.
Yeah. Blonde and tan. Wearing pastels.
We meet the Teddy's heavy tie, played by Jeremy Piven.
Who's just Jeremy Pivening all over the movie.
Yes, he is.
Like I after seeing enough, Piven has zero range.
That's all he plays is a version of himself.
To be fair, I've never seen Entourage, but I don't think it's much different. But you've got he's in this movie. He's the same character in PCU. He's just Jeremy Piven.
Yeah, the same character from Grosse Pointe Blank, and the same character from everything.
Yep.
So his character Ty shows up to hassle the Stork twins as we see Cookie eyeing up Hoops.
Yes, she is.
Yeah. We also meet George's grandma, Calamari, and Uncle Frank. Uncle Frank there's a fun bit there. He is addicted, I'm using that word quite literally,
yes,
to winning a radio contest that's offered every summer. You know, it's one of those call in when you hear this jingle kind of thing.
We'll give away $1 million.
Yep. We next go to an Army-Navy surplus store. And we meet Joe Flaherty's General Raymond character. Apparently he has several children that work for him at the Army-Navy surplus store, one of whom shoots himself off camera.
Yeah. He's a 80s caricature of a military dad.
Yes. Boys, tourniquet! So George and Hoops are there looking for General Raymond's son, Ack Ack. Again, Curtis Armstrong, Booger himself, Oz.
Mm-hmm.
He's at the beach collecting shells while there's active explosions happening.
As he's not there collecting like seashells, he's there getting like military shells.
Like artillery shells.
Exactly.
Driving back, they pass a burial attended by Cassandra. We then meet Teddy's dad, Aguila Beckerstead, played by Animal House's Mark Metcalf, as well as Twisted Sister Mark Metcalf.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, he was in the video for I think We're Not Gonna Take It.
I didn't know that.
Or it was one of the big Twisted Sister songs. He was in the video. He's Teddy's father. He's using a stethoscope to listen to a lobster scream as he drops the lobster into a pot of boiling water.
Right.
Aguila scolds Teddy about we have to win the regatta because otherwise, my father, Aguila's father, Teddy's grandfather, won't leave us the money or something silly and ridiculous like that. There's also a fun bit. He's gonna take everything away, and then Teddy, you'll have to go to work.
No.
I love all the overacting.
Oh yeah, and it is obviously done purposefully.
Yes,
but just the timing of it is. I mean, it does. It just sets the tone for what this movie is.
We then get to the whole real plot here. Aguila wants to take Cassandra's grandfather's land and develop it into condos and restaurants, but of course she owes back mortgage, so we got to raise some money. I think we teased this at the end of last week's episode as well.
Yeah.
This is another one of those movies where the bad guy function is a real estate. Like
it's all real estate.
It's all, I gotta get that house, I gotta get that land, I gotta get that property, and that's the mechanism of this movie. Mm-hmm. We do notice also that Aguila has a miniature of the property of the property he wants on his land next to his pool.
Well, and he's got your like banker mortgage guy, played by Eddie from Big Trouble in Little China.
You're right. I knew he looked familiar.
So he's the mortgage guy that he's working with Cassandra, giving her some time to raise the money. What is it, like $3,000? It's
$3,000.
It's always like a nice round figure.
Yeah.
I don't know what your mortgage is, but my mortgage isn't a nice round figure. So yeah, she's got, but then again, he's also at this Aguila thing. So
I actually, I negotiated my mortgage higher so that we would have a nice round number.
Round up for children's literacy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm assuming that's where it's going.
Is Wendy's taking care of your mortgage, like they're your mortgage lender?
Yep, it's Wendy's. I got a free Frosty.
That's every
month. Payment. Yeah, for every month, one free Frosty. It's worth it for me.
Why would you bank anywhere else?
We see Cassandra walking on the beach. She's telling Hoops about the money she owes. Hoops tells her about his desire to win the art school scholarship. She asks him to draw something. He draws a gorilla and her. We then see we get another fun Uncle Frank bit. He slips in the bathtub with a radio and explodes out the window. There's no purpose to the Uncle Frank
none.
character
Zero.
whatsoever, but I loved it.
Other than just some dumb running joke that they could pay off later.
Yep. On the beach, Egg is flying a kite while George is buried in the sand up to his head. Of course, then we get the bit of George is helpless because it's just his head sticking out. Dog pees on him. A very large framed person with headphones puts a fold-up chair right above him and sits on it, starts eating chili out of a large can.
Amongst seemingly a dozen other things. But yeah.
we later see George rescued by paramedics. And apparently he's on the verge of death because they're arguing about giving him mouth to mouth.
It's almost died from this.
Yeah. Cookie and her hot friends ask Hoops and the Stork brothers to get in their boat. And Cookie asks Hoops out. Yeah.
I just love this. I come back to it later, but I just love this. What, you guys want to help me carry my boat? And no, it sounds like work. But of course, coming out of Bobcat's mouth, just in his Bobcat, like
no,
it sounds like work. It's just it's that like I'd asked my wife if she wanted to watch it, and of course she goes, "Who's in it?" And I should have stopped at
Cusack and Demi Moore.
There. But
Mark Metcalf's in it.
But I love my wife, so I said Bobcat Goldthwait, and she goes, "Nope."
That's a hard pass.
She goes,
right
there. I can't do that. I can't take this. I'm like, I know, but and honestly, if I hadn't grown up with a steady feed of Police Academy movies, I probably couldn't either. But
you've become immune to it.
Yeah, it's like I just accept him for who he's portraying, not for who.
It's like Wesley the Princess Bride becoming immune to iocane powder.
Or like Mike Tyson, you just get used to it. I know he's got a list, but I still know what he's saying.
Later, Cassandra asks Hoops to watch her perform. I'll be there. You can count on it, Cassandra.
Right. Nothing's going to get in my way.
His friends talk Hoops into going out with Cookie because it might help Cassandra, getting in with the girlfriend of
that'll work.
The guy whose dad, whose
go on a date with a girl who has a boyfriend, and I bet you'll get in good with them.
With the boyfriend, yeah. We get an animated sequence of a very voluptuous cat with the rhino. And then in a sneak preview, we see a Godzilla-like lizard rip the rhino in half. Cookie takes Hoops to the drive-in because they're in her car. Later, Ty sees Hoops, so of course he runs off and tells Teddy. Cookie, let's see. Cookie says, "Oh God, I'm not even going to go into that." Egg gets stuck in a Godzilla costume later on.
They're back at this event or whatever.
Yes, and he's supposed to be watching for Teddy,
which is why Cookie is able to go out with Hoops because, like you said, Egg is back, at this event, keeping an eye on Ted.
Yeah. But of course, at this event, there's an entire truck full of costumes there for some reason.
Why wouldn't there be?
And so Egg, of course, puts on and gets stuck in a Godzilla costume, bursts into the Beckerstead fundraiser reception. Someone throws a cigar into the Godzilla mouth, so it looks like there's billowing smoke coming out. And of course, he ends up on the condo miniature from before, stomping and screaming. And yes,
but the Japanese banker loved it. Of course he did.
Was having a great time, of course.
Although, come to think of it, not only do we mention that he's Big Trouble in Little China, but apparently he enjoys being in movies with characters named Egg.
There you go. I will only it tells his agent only scout out roles for me.
It's a writer in his contract. Like you can cast me, but you better change somebody's name to Egg.
Yeah. Later, Teddy and his goons catch up with Hoops, because Ty told them.
Right.
Cassandra intervenes, says, "Teddy, you can't outshoot Hoops in a basketball contest." And of course, they don't have a hoop, so they take Ack Ack and they put him up on like a fence post with his arms out as a hoop. So there's Curtis Armstrong with his arms making a circle. Hoops, of course, just loses. He's terrible.
Oh, he's awful.
And the only way they can get away, because Teddy's, they're about to get, beaten pretty bad here. And of course, Cassandra just maces Teddy and all of his goons. But of course, she's also mad at Hoops for not coming to her show.
And that's also understandable because he promised he'd be there.
I promise I will never die.
If you were this age back in the 80s, would you if you had an option of dating Cookie or dating Demi or Cassandra, which path would you go down?
The path that teenage Curtis probably would have done was to curl up in a ball and stay at home and watch like
One Crazy Summer.
and watch X-Men the animated series taped off the TV on VHS.
Right. Fast forwarding through commercials.
Yeah, exactly.
While both girls are standing at the front door knocking and peering in. Yeah. Curtis!
I would like to think that I would have kept my promise and gone to see Cassandra.
Yeah. I know I would have, because the likelihood of two attractive women being interested in me at the same time would have been non-existent. So I would have been like, hey, look at that. There's one that might like me. So I'm going that way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see. The next day at the beach, George invites Ack Ack to his grandma's after, of course, the general kicked Ack Ack out of his house for not joining the military.
Right.
We get a little montage here as Would I Lie to You by the Eurythmics plays.
It's a fun song. I forget how fun that song is.
Yeah. As Hoops and his friends have made kind of an animated ad to promote Cassandra's next show.
Yeah, because he feels bad.
Yeah, they're handing out flyers. They play this ad at the movies, so they basically bring their own projector and project it up.
Yeah, and get like popcorn thrown at them all over the place.
Meanwhile, Aguila fires a crossbow at lobsters on a rotating target board. As he tells
with
Teddy,
Ted standing behind, he's the one rotating.
Right yes, and it's not exactly covering him at all times either. He tells Teddy, "Take care of Cassandra. We got to make sure she doesn't make any money for the mortgage." Cassandra tells Hoops, she's worried that so she's kind of onto him already. Yeah. I'm worried that they're going to interfere in the show. Later, Ack Ack fires an RPG at a dinghy to distract a lobster delivery truck that was headed for Beckerstad's.
Yeah.
And so they get the truck and they dump all the lobsters in the Beckerstad pool. Teddy screams at Aguila that I'm going to go do my lap.
Swimming laps is his comfort zone.
Yes. And so, of course, he dives into the pool and just starts screaming. Cookie's right there with him as he's doing his laps, and he just starts screaming out of nowhere. And of course, we get the whole bit where the lobsters are biting.
Yes,
of course,
yes.
Because he didn't see the lobsters all over the bottom of the pool. What he do?
No, not on that clear chlorine pool.
Later, Demi Moore is at the Dewdrop Inn. Singing, and I'm putting that word in
I was going to say,
marks,
is she?
to the crowd's also delight.
Yeah.
That's quote unquote. As Hoops and the others are working the door. Cassandra the next day shows up to the bank. Hey, I got the $3,000.
They paid me to stop singing.
Yeah, basically. The banker says it's too late. Beckerstad's bought the mortgage. Mr. Beckerstad is a lot wealthier than you.
Just that's how it works.
Yeah.
I'm glad things have changed and it's not like that anymore.
Oh, yeah, of course not. That where the rich and the wealthy get everything they want and know how to bend the rules.
So glad that stayed in the 80s.
Yeah. Back at the house, her grandfather's house, all these people are getting evicted, and we get a scene here of Aguila kicks a dog.
Yeah, I didn't like this.
I didn't like that either. At the vet, Ack Ack proposes that they beat Teddy in the regatta race because somehow Ack Ack knows that the Aguila grandfather will take everything away.
Yeah.
The Beckerstads don't win the regatta. So we get a montage.
Yes, we do.
Of them fixing up this decrepit boat, and they christen it the boat.
The boat.
They give Hoops a Viking helmet because he's the captain, but of course he can't do it. He's afraid of water. He's afraid of boats. Hoops tells Cassandra, I can't go in. And she says, well, maybe you just haven't had the right experience in a boat. She gives him a big old smoocher.
Right there, next to the boat.
Yep.
Still hasn't had the experience on the boat. But
No. He's better with peers now, though.
Totally wasted it right there on the
Teddy drops off his sports car at the shop where the brothers work, and all the others are there. Clay brings in the car with a bloody nose. So while Teddy was dropping it off, he must have hit Clay, and of course Egg just goes, "He hit you!" And Egg fires up a chainsaw and takes it to the car as they lower the doors from outside. The next morning, dancing in the streets playing as the five guys all doing choreographed dances bring the boat out to the contest. Teddy, Ty, and the other bad guys are in the boat wearing their red Lacoste alligator shirts. Teddy and Ty cut the tongue off of Odie. They had put a stuffed Odie on the front of the boat, and Jeremy Piven cuts it off and then pretends to eat Odie's tongue.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just to show that we really don't like dogs.
Yep. So there's 3 stages to the race. There's a paddle stage, there's a sail stage, and there's a motor stage. The race begins. They of course, the bad guys get a lead. The boat gains on them, but Aguila takes a crossbow and cuts their halyard rope on. Drops their sail.
He's a good shot.
He is. He's good with that crossbow. Hoops, of course, they got to get this back up fast, and so he takes a weighted ball, which for some reason was there.
And already attached to what they needed it attached to.
Yep, and he shoots it up through this tiny little hoop at the top of the big mast or whatever, and it goes in, raising the sail back up as they're back in business.
Good thing.
Ty, of course, knocks a guy off a different team's boat. Ack Ack jumps in to save him. Aguila is knocked off their boat by this fake dolphin that's been driving all over the bay. Of course, it's driven by George's little sister.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Yeah.
They get the bad guys. They start their engines, Oz, but the boat catches up and they don army helmets. Hoops screams, "Blow the hatch!" revealing that they took Teddy's sports car and basically built the boat around it. I guess
it's like a duck boat almost.
They win.
Yeah.
They win the race, the boats. They all win. So Hoops kisses Cassandra to the disappointment of Cookie, who then George kisses.
Yeah, it's like those Murray brothers.
I was just about to say, Joel Murray. George's sister is greeted by the dog Roscoe, now wearing a cone, and surrounded by other puppies wearing adorable little cones as well. The general tells Ack Ack, "You're a hero for saving that other man's life. You can come back home now." Old man Beckerstead tells Teddy that friendship is the real investment. And gives Cassandra her grandfather's house back.
Right. Everybody wins except the bad guys.
Yep. We then get an epilogue, another animated sequence of a blind cherub comes up to the rhino and an animated Cassandra. They walk away. And then we get some cute fuzzy bunnies that look suspiciously like Siskel and Ebert are blown up by a bomb. Apparently, Oz, Siskel and Ebert didn't like Better Off Dead.
I could see that.
This was Savage Steve Holland's way of getting back at Siskel and Ebert by animating them as bunnies and blowing them up.
Way to go, Savage Steve.
That was so savage. We then get a double epilogue here, Oz. Uncle Frank, he gets a call through to the contest, but as he's excited, he accidentally yanks the phone cord out of the wall, forfeiting the prize. Frank then shoots a rocket at the radio station, blowing up the station. And that, folks, is 1986's One Crazy Summer.
One crazy episode.
Any final thoughts you have on this before we get to the bits?
It is. It's fun, and there's a lot. I mean, because obviously we try to stick with the plot, and so with a movie like this, there's an easy 40% of the movie that wasn't even discussed, just because it's so singular and throwaway. Yeah. But it's fun. So if you haven't had a chance to watch this movie, or even Better Off Dead, I prefer Better Off Dead myself. I think they're both a lot of fun. But yeah, it's definitely one worth checking out if you like a little bit of goofiness in your movie.
Yeah, if you just want some silly, harmless, fun yucks.
Yeah. It is playing for free on the Roku channel and Tubi. Mm-hmm. So you could catch them there, and then Better Off Dead is playing
on Chiller.
Yeah, on Shudder. No, that's not available for free. You have to pay up. But that movie's again, that's also a movie. Better Off Dead is definitely a movie that couldn't be made outside of the 80s, as you have the Japanese kids that only learn English by watching Howard Cosell. Like it's funny when you explain it, and it really is, for the most part, it's harmless stereotyping, tongue in cheek, but it's still stereotyping. It's still
stereotypes, yeah.
You're not. I've seen far worse depictions of things, but it's still that 80s era stereotyping. But yeah, you could catch One Crazy Summer, and I recommend it. I think it's definitely a fun movie.
Yeah, let's go ahead and rate this. Hey, folks, every week, Oz and I give our own unique rating to the film we yap about. In this case, 86's One Crazy Summer. Hey, Oz, how would you rate this flick?
I'm going to give it $1 million.
That is exactly what my rating was going to be. So, let's see. I'm going to come up. I'm giving this movie. Let's go with 6. Let's go 7.5 Bobcats.
Okay.
Yeah, 7.5 Bobcats. You gotta work on my Bobcat.
I think Christopher Walken is easier than a Bobcat Goldthwait.
All right, next up we got Outside Insights. Oz and I have been scouring the interwebs, searching for unprofessional reviews that tickle our funny bones, and we hope they tickle yours as well. Oz, what is your Outside Insight?
I have 2 short ones. Okay, the first one is a 5-star review from KCC, and it just says fun movie. I just love this stupid little movie. It's not Oscar worthy, no great acting or plot here, but so what? Sometimes you just need a simple movie with a few laughs. I may be biased. I saw this in the theater when it came out, on vacation with my boyfriend, and we both loved it. So maybe I'm remembering a happy time. Don't know, but don't really care. I will always have a soft spot in my heart for One Crazy Summer. John Cusack and Demi Moore are so young here. Bobcat is funny as usual. Great to see Joel Murray, Bill's brother. And let's not forget one of my favorites who died too soon, Tom Villard. The Stork twins are the highlight of the movie. If you aren't into mindless, stupid comedies, then this one isn't for you. If you like a bit of lightweight humor and appreciate Bobcat for what he once was, then you should like this. With my boyfriend. My second one is even shorter. It is by Heidi Prickett. It's probably just Heidi Pickett, but it's pronounced by Dr. Steve. Dr. Stephen Brule.
Such a hunk.
Heidi Prickett. Pruppets. It's titled 1980s at its best. Had it on VHS all these years. Now I have it on DVD. Dated and will be more dated 10 years from now. Certainly in the 1980s, and the things in the movie that seemed cute or funny then are now annoying. Like the actor who thinks it's funny to grimace and scream all the time. Makes you think he has a mental problem. Ruins an otherwise good movie, 5 stars.
The actor.
Yeah. 5 out of 5. Oh, God, so annoying and dated. I loved it, though. Great job.
5 out of 5.
Yeah, 5 out of 5. So what is your Outside Insight?
Mine, as always, comes from the Internet Movie Database. It is a 10 out of 10 review from Jillian, left in 1999. I really love anything done by Savage Steve Holland. This movie is really humorous and delivers some unexpected things. Where else but in this movie can you see Demi Moore as a talented singer and Bobcat Goldthwait as a twin? This movie constantly throws you unexpected things, even after you've seen it like 100 times like I have. Demi Moore is a talented singer.
And Bobcat is a twin.
Who would have thought somebody could have two of that guy in their uterus?
OMG.
I also just the opening line. I really love anything done by Savage Steve Holland. I know. So this, Better Off Dead.
Legally Blondes. Like
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the TV show.
How I Got Into College. Yeah, I just love anything.
Yeah, so hey, folks, it's that point in the show you've all been waiting for. Our signature segment, the 3-2-1, in which Oz and I each share 3 goods 2 bads and 1 about the movie we've been yapping about one crazy summer. Oz, my friend, what are your 3 goods?
My first is I really love just those dumb throwaway jokes. The cookie, hey, you guys want to help me move my boat? No. It sounds like work. Like the stuck faces on the little girls.
Yeah.
George's head under the chair, not once but twice. Even though I knew just the pacing about how it was going, but Bobcat's story is, once was this kid at school and he was overweight and he had a twin and he talked kind of funny, and he's like, Ack Ack's like, is this a story about you? No, I beat that kid up all the time. Like you knew how it was coming, but I think it's just like Bobcat's delivery of it. Even like when the dog gets kicked by Aquila and then they cut to the vet and they've got that little dog in a nurse's outfit pushing a little doggy. It's just so dumb, but it's like you've set the stage in a movie like this where you've given yourself the leash to do something dumb like that. And so that's my first good. My second, this movie has heart.
It does. You're rooting for the characters.
Yeah, you really are. You feel for them. And a lot of that is Cusack, of course, just because he is so everyman, really, in a lot of his roles. But the movie has heart, and I really appreciate that. And to kind of go counter to that, my third good is Teddy is a great caricature of an 80s villain. He really is. You could say, as much as he is an 80s villain, he's also a tongue-in-cheek, like, making fun of your 80s villain up to that point. And it's just fun. So those are my 3 goods. What do you got?
All 3 of my goods are just basically examples of the silliness.
That's fine.
In this movie. My first good is right near the beginning after George jumps the car onto the ferry. The punk falls in the water, and of course he's 80s movie punk, so he has the big spiky hair.
Yes.
And as he resurfaces, there's a couple of fish that are skewered on his hair spikes.
Yeah, just dumb stuff like that.
So that's good number 1. Good number 2 is just the Godzilla sequence.
Yeah, it was fun.
I just with Bobcat in there doing his Bobcatness, just and even
taking the extra little beat to like, let's film a cigar going into his mouth so that he could breathe fire. It wasn't exaggerated. It just made sense in the world they've created here. So,
And let's go for number 3. Oz, you and I both like a good montage.
I do love a good montage.
The whole boat fixing up montage. Yeah. We also had the advertising for Cassandra montage. So we had 2 montages.
Yeah.
Montages. We had montage.
Yeah, montage.
But montage. So those are my 3 goods, Oz. What are your 2 bads?
Demi Moore was pretty bad. But to be fair, I think Demi Moore's pretty much always pretty bad. She's a pretty face and she's soft spoken, and there you go. So that she didn't, thankfully, really, considering that the plot of the movie was kind of centered around her and her family, you really wasn't a lot of Cassandra in the movie. As a speaking role. She was always kind of there, but so smart move there. But Demi Moore.
Well, she was kind of the straight man character in some ways.
Yeah,
I mean, Hoops kind of was too, but she was really the only normal one.
Yeah.
in that collection of friends.
Oh, yeah, by far. And that's because she wasn't really in that collection of friends.
As an outsider.
My second bad is just the rich getting what they want. I know it doesn't. Even it didn't happen for them in the end, but still I mean, I know it's going to be a Hollywood story forever because that's just the way the world works, but just the rich getting what they want. There's one of those times even where, not necessarily in this movie, but it's like, man, it'd be nice to be rich every once in a while. People are like, well, money doesn't solve your problems. I'm like, I bet it'll solve some of mine.
Then quit voting for people who support the rich.
I agree. Well, the rich keep the people who we would be voting for out.
Yeah.
So, I agree.
Yeah.
So that's...
I'm not going to go any further down that
road. I know. So, but that's my second bad, is just the behavior of the rich.
Yeah.
So, what do you got for your bads?
For my first bad, I almost kind of feel bad bringing this up, but like the actor who played Clay, Tom Villard, he just, he couldn't keep up with Bobcat.
No, I like him though. Like he's like, I find him funny too, but for different awkward reasons. But no, he couldn't keep up with Bobcat.
Yeah. And again, I'm really being kind of nitpicky there, but like, I mean, Bobcat is just so dialed up, and this guy's supposed to be his twin brother, and it's, I don't know, I got the impression he was really trying hard, but he just couldn't keep up with Bobcat. So, my other bad, there was just a couple little moments in this movie that like I want to really like this movie a lot, and there's a couple moments where it's like, man, why did they have to do that?
I know.
Why did they have to have Mark Metcalf kick a dog?
Right.
Like, why did they have to have Mark Metcalf use the R word? Like, I want to like this movie a lot, and I do.
Yeah.
And then just these couple little moments happen, and in this like just silly movie, and like, I don't know, just kind of slapped me back to reality just for a couple moments there.
I feel you.
But yeah, those are my two bads. Oz, what's your
It's more general than it is specific, but to kind of go in hand with what we've been talking about all along. What happened to movies like this? Like, despite some of the like ill pieces to it, like you just mentioned, but like, I'd like to know when movies like this stopped happening. Because it's, I don't know if it was just kind of an 80s. I don't know. Like, it'd be an interesting study to kind of track this certain type of movie, even though it falls under the comedy umbrella. It's definitely more screwballish.
Yeah.
And I just don't know, like, what happened to it, because you've got this again. You've got Better Off Dead. You've got I think it did kind of morph a little bit into, like we talked a little bit pre-show, maybe some of the improvisational Christopher Guest kind of stuff a little, but this isn't improv. You could tell it's scripted and plotted out. But it just feels like a little bit of lightning in a bottle, but they were there. Like, I'd even put like the Naked Gun movies kind of in this frame.
You don't see a lot of like a lot of extended silly in movie anymore.
No.
Like, there might be moments here and there, but just this was an hour and a half of silly.
Yeah.
And like, I want to see long form silly.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, I mean, you know me, Conan O'Brien is like one of my comedy heroes, and that's his whole bit.
Oh yeah. It's just silly. Yeah.
There's no consequences. They're not taking cheap shots at people.
They're just coming up with dumb ideas and making them just happen.
Just being funny.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah. Like, and there's not a lot of like ironic humor or sarcastic humor. There's no like mean spirited humor.
No, it's just it's almost like you've meshed two things together that shouldn't go together. Like, Preparation H, was it Raymond?
Yeah, Preparation H. Raymond.
It's just it's like just that. It's like it's dumb, but it's hilarious, and so I would say you could maybe, like, I think Wet Hot would kind of fit under that umbrella. I think David Wayne does some of that,
but even that was a spoof.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. It's like because we're mentioning things that are spoofs and parodies. And like this in Better Off Dead or Not, like, they're just straight goofball comedies.
Yeah.
But they're
not trying to be something else.
Yeah, but with a heart.
Imitate. Yeah.
They're not relying on being raunchy. They're not relying on, they're just movies that feel good. And they've got a heart, and you watch them, and that's probably why I really gravitated to, I can't tell you how many times I watched Better Off Dead growing up, but it's just, it's like there's a through line, and then it's just full of these funny little thorns of, I want my $2, and just these running gags and bits, and they're just fun. But again, they're harmless fun. You get maybe, I don't know, like even 16 Candles is dangerous at times, with some of the things that, I mean, it's goofy, but you've got some pretty wild stereotypical behavior with one character. It's just, but to find these two movies by Savage Steve Holland, and it's like, okay. Like, they're fun. You feel comfortable watching them. They're not layered with, like, suddenly someone's walking in front of the camera with their boobs out. They're just there. But it's just what happened. What happened to movies like this? We could use more of these. Savage Steve Holland, we've not given up on you. Maybe a little, but come on back.
Yeah.
What's your hunt?
I'm gonna just drop several just really quick possible hunts. Did Hoops tell his family he was going to Nantucket? No.
It's the 80s. You don't have to tell them.
What does Aguila have against lobsters?
Well, I think he had a chain of lobster restaurants, but still,
you're listening to them with a stethoscope as they boil.
It's that's profit.
How come we never see Cassandra off stage with her bandmates?
That's a good, huh?
During the montage scene, they laid out blueprints. Which one of these geniuses drew up blueprints? None of those are my real huhs, though. My real is a little more meta. How come more performers don't include adjectives in their names?
I don't know. I wish they would. Professional wrestlers did.
I know,
professional wrestlers don't really do it anymore either.
Macho Man, Randy Savage.
Right.
Yeah.
Big Van Vader.
Yeah. He's literally big.
Yeah. The Iron Sheik.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, I'm with you.
How come more people don't put adjectives in front of their names? I don't know.
What adjective would you give yourself?
Well, I'm assuming it has to be alliterative in some way as well, like calamitous Curtis.
Crazy Curtis.
Savage Curtis.
Outrageous Oz. Ostracized Oz.
Oh, wow. Outlandish.
Oh, there you go. Ogre.
Ogre Oz.
Ogre Oz.
Oh, if you would to name us in the comments, go ahead.
Yeah, there you go. Let's interact with our listeners a little bit.
Drop down. What would our adjectives be?
I hope someone answers that.
I really do.
Yeah. So
I'm counting on Mandy K to give us an
hop
answer
in, Patreon subscribers. You've earned the right to comment.
Well, hey, Oz, that wraps up a 5-week month for us with summer, quote unquote, movies.
Yeah. We have a new theme next month.
We do. We're also going with a quote unquote movie month here.
Yeah. We are, I think it's time that we touch into our masculinity.
We do, and this first movie really does that a lot.
I am tired of these foo-foo chick movies we've been watching.
I know, right?
Right. I know we do. It's been a long time since 80s Schwarzenegger month. But we're going to do another round of movies very, very much like that, as we're going to cover an entire month of man movies.
Yes. Nothing but man.
Movies for men.
What makes a man?
Yeah, we're doing man movies. The catch, though, is the word man has to be in the title.
Yes, the word man, or the combination of the letters M-A-N.
That's right.
Are somewhere in the title.
And we are kicking off next month with my pick.
Yes, a very masculine movie.
Very masculine movies. We're going to cover 2009's I Love You, Man. It's a love letter to men.
Yes, by man for man.
That's right. Brought to you by John Hamburg, inventor of the hamburger for men.
Brought to you by Arm & Hammer.
NASCAR brings you this film.
I don't know why. I just thought of there's a scene in The Simpsons where Willie gets out of the shower and he instead of using deodorant, he has a box of powdered Ajax.
Okay,
and just throws it underneath his armpits.
That's probably healthier for cartoon characters than it is for humans.
Yeah, I wash myself with steel wool, Oz. I don't know about you.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't. I use a grill brush. And I shave my head with a Bowie knife, like Bill Duke does in Predator.
You're ghosting us.
That's right, man.
Man.
But no, that's what we got this next month. For the month of June, we're covering man movies.
Movies.
And like I said, first one will be I Love You, Man. Social media wise, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. There is a Patreon link down below, so feel free to join the Patreon army. An army,
money, please.
Army full of men,
of which I think one is identifies as male.
So join Don and be a man.
Be a man like Don.
Right. Uncle Don wants you. And if you're not a man, just join Don's Dames and be another female Patreon subscriber.
Don's man. Don's dude.
That's right, because Don's a man.
He's a man.
All right. We'll be back next week to cover I Love You, Man. We could keep going with this for a while.
Yes.
We'll be back next week to kick off June with I Love You, Man. For another episode of Let's Talk About Flicks, I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.
And we'll see you guys next week.